The trading post stood at the edge of Velkaris's market district. Small, ordinary, easy to overlook. Surrounded by towering alien structures of glass and crystal, it looked insignificant. Its owner seemed even more so. Hun moved quietly between the shelves, arranging jars of imported spices with careful hands. Every movement was deliberate, every action unhurried, as though the universe had no need for haste. Afternoon sunlight filtered through the front windows, painting long shadows across the wooden floor. The shop was peaceful. Until the bell above the door rang, Hun looked up. Commander Nari stepped inside. The room suddenly felt smaller. She was nearly a head taller than him, broad-shouldered, powerful, a warrior from one of the most feared military races in known space. The dark blue armor of a Velkari commander covered her frame, metals gleaming against polished metal. Most beings instinctively stepped aside when Nari entered a room. Hun simply smiled. "Good afternoon." His voice was soft enough that many people would have missed it. Nari nodded, then walked toward the imported tea section. Again, this was her fourth visit that month. She always bought tea. Hun suspected she never actually drank most of it. She would browse for 20 minutes, ask a few questions, stay longer than necessary, then leave. Today felt different. When she finally approached the counter, she didn't seem eager to go. Her clawed fingers tapped lightly against the wood, an unusual sign of nervousness. "You're always alone here." Hun wrapped her tea carefully. "Usually?" Nari hesitated, then asked, "Don't you get lonely?" Hun paused. A faint sadness crossed his face. "Sometimes." His dark eyes met hers. "But quiet can be good too." Nari studied him. "My people think quiet means weakness." A tiny smile touched Hun's lips. Maybe they're right. No. The answer came immediately. Firm. Certain. Nari folded her arms. "I think you choose quiet." She tilted her head. "That's different." Something flickered in Hun's eyes. Gone almost instantly. But Nari saw it. For the first time, she wondered what kind of man hid behind all that silence. As she collected her tea, she remained standing. Hun waited patiently. Finally, she took a breath. "Have dinner with me tonight." Hun froze. The request clearly surprised him. "Why?" Nari's answer came without hesitation. "Because in 2 years, you've never tried to impress me." Her golden eyes narrowed slightly. "Everyone else does. They brag. They compete. They want something." A small smile appeared. "You just listen." Hun looked away. "I'm not what you think I am." Nari shrugged. "Then have dinner with me, and tell me who you are." For a long moment he said nothing. Then finally, he nodded. "Okay." One dinner became another. Then another. Then dozens more. Months passed. And slowly, walls began to fall. Nari learned that Hun had arrived on Velkaris 5 years earlier, carrying almost nothing. No family, no wealth, no history he was willing to discuss. Whenever conversations drifted toward his past, he changed the subject. Always gently, always successfully. The only person who seemed to know more was another human named Quan, who operated a repair shop across the city. Even Quan spoke carefully whenever the topic arose, as though stepping around a sleeping predator. What surprised Nari most was how comfortable she felt around him. Her life was filled with conflict, orders, weapons, politics, noise, endless noise. But with Hun, silence never felt awkward. It felt peaceful. He would cook simple meals. They would sit together for hours, sometimes speaking, sometimes not. And somehow those quiet evenings became the happiest moments of her life. Not everyone shared her happiness. Nari's mother visited the shop once. She looked Hun up and down. Her expression made her opinion obvious. Then she left without buying anything. That evening, Nari found Hun closing the store. "Your mother thinks I'm beneath you." His tone wasn't angry, only resigned. Nari snorted. "She thinks everyone is beneath me." Hun laughed quietly. The sound was rare enough to make her smile. It doesn't matter, but both of them knew it did. Her younger brother stopped speaking to her. Friends became distant. Commanders reassigned her from prestigious missions. Whispers followed her through military corridors. The price of loving a human grew heavier each week. Yet she never once considered leaving. One night, Nari discovered him in the storage room. Hun sat beside a large metal container covered in unfamiliar locks. His hand rested against its surface. Almost affectionately, almost fearfully. The container looked ancient, dangerous, important. What's in there? Hun stared at the metal for a long moment. My past. The answer sent a chill through her. She sat beside him. Why won't you tell me about it? Hun finally looked up, and for the first time, she saw something hidden beneath his calm exterior. Pain. Old. Deep. Unhealed. Because if you knew, his voice nearly broke. You might not stay. Nari's heart tightened. She moved closer. I'm a soldier. She placed a hand on his shoulder. I've seen terrible things. His eyes lowered. So have I. Whatever happened. She squeezed his arm gently. It won't make me leave. Hun looked away. You say that now. 6 months later, beneath the twin moons of Valkaris, Nari proposed. Hun simply stared at her, speechless, for nearly a minute. Finally, he whispered, Are you sure? She laughed. That's your answer? No. His expression grew serious. Your people will hate you for this. Nari stepped closer. I choose you. Hun's eyes glistened. For a brief moment he looked overwhelmed, as though nobody had ever chosen him before. Then he smiled. A real smile. The kind she almost never saw. Then yes. His voice shook slightly. I'll marry you. The wedding was small and uncomfortable. Most of Nari's relatives attended out of obligation, not support. Hun's only guest was Quan, who looked worried from the moment he arrived, as though he knew something nobody else did, something terrible. The ceremony should have been beautiful. Instead, it became ugly. Nari's cousin Velkos drank far too much. By the middle of the reception, he was shouting loudly enough for everyone to hear. Can the human even hold a sword? Laughter erupted. Velkos raised his glass. Or does he spend all day counting spice jars? More laughter. Hun remained silent. His hand found Nari's, gently squeezing it, telling her not to react. But Velkos wasn't finished. Our mighty commander marries a merchant. His grin widened. A weak little merchant, from a species that has never won a real war. Nari felt rage building inside her. Yet Hun squeezed her hand again. His eyes met hers. One silent message. Let it go. Then a voice came from the back of the room. Quan, you should stop talking. The laughter died immediately. Velkos smirked. Or what? Quan didn't smile. Didn't blink. Didn't move. I'm trying to save your life. The room fell silent. Even Nari felt a strange chill. What? Velkos laughed nervously. Another soft human threat? Quan's expression darkened. You don't know who you're insulting. Before anyone could respond. Hun. Just one word. Spoken softly. Nothing more. Yet the effect was immediate. Quan fell silent. The tension vanished, as though an invisible hand had released everyone's throat. And for the first time, Nari realized something. The quiet merchant everyone mocked was the one person in the room that even Quan feared disappointing. Months later, the consequences arrived. Nari was demoted, stripped of command, assigned to patrol duty, a humiliating position normally reserved for inexperienced recruits. Friends disappeared. Squad members requested transfers. Doors quietly closed, one by one. Yet every evening she returned home. And every evening Hun was waiting. A warm meal, a quiet smile, no questions, no pity. Just understanding. One sleepless night, Hun sat once more beside the sealed container. His fingers traced the unfamiliar locks, remembering, regretting, mourning. He didn't hear Nari enter. What is really inside? He closed his eyes. For a long moment neither spoke. Then she asked softly, "Were you a soldier?" The silence stretched. Heavy, painful. Finally he nodded. Yes. Nari's heartbeat quickened. Then tell me. Hun stared at the container, at the ghosts trapped inside it. At the man he used to be. When he finally spoke, his voice sounded broken. Because that man doesn't exist anymore. He swallowed hard. I killed him. And in the darkness of the storage room, for the first time, Nari wondered if the quiet merchant she loved had once been something far more dangerous than anyone could imagine. I buried him. I came here to be someone new. Nari reached for his hand. You can't bury the past. It's part of who you are. Some parts should stay buried, Hyan whispered. Before Nari could respond, footsteps pounded on the stairs. Quan burst into the room, his face flushed from running. Nari, I need to talk to you, Juan said. He glanced at Hyan. Alone, Hyan stood slowly. I'll make tea. He left the room, closing the door behind him. Quan grabbed Nari's arm. You need to know the truth about your husband. What truth? Nari asked. He's not just a merchant. None of us are. Quan said urgently. We came here to escape our past, to find peace. But you deserve to know what you married into. Then tell me, Nari said. Quan opened his mouth to speak. But before he could, alarms blared across the city. Red lights flashed through the window. A mechanical voice echoed from every speaker. All military personnel report immediately. We are under attack. This is not a drill. Nari ran upstairs. Quan and Hun following. Through the window, they saw ships descending from the sky. Large, black, and covered in weapons. Explosions lit up the night as the first bombs fell. Dragath, Quan breathed. It's the Dragath Empire. Nari grabbed her armor from the closet. I have to go. The city needs every soldier. No, Hyan said. His voice was louder than Nari had ever heard it. It's too dangerous. You should evacuate with the civilians. I'm a warrior, Nari said, strapping on her chest plate. This is what I do. Please, Hyun said. He grabbed her arm, and Nari saw something in his eyes she'd never seen before. Fear. Real desperate fear. Please don't go. Nari cupped his face with her hand. I have to. This is my world, my people. I won't hide while they fight. She kissed him quickly and ran for the door. At the threshold, she turned back. I love you. Stay safe. Then she was gone, running toward the sounds of battle. Han stood at the window, watching her disappear into the smoke and chaos. Quan stood beside him. You have to tell her, Juan said. You have to tell her who you really are. No, Hyan said. That life is over. Is it? Quan pointed at the burning city. The Dragath are here. They didn't forget. Did you really think they would let you retire? Hyan's hands clenched into fists. I just wanted peace. I wanted to be normal. We were never normal, Quan said quietly. And you know what happens if the Dragath win? They'll kill everyone, including Nari. Hyun closed his eyes. I can't go back to being that person. Then Nari dies, Quan said. Her people die. Everyone on this planet dies. Is that the peace you wanted? The battle raged through the night. Nari fought alongside her squad in the city center. The Dragath soldiers were bigger than Velkari, stronger, and their weapons cut through armor like paper. Bodies piled in the streets. Nari's squad was pushed back block by block. They made their stand at the central plaza, surrounded on all sides. Nari's captain fell with a spear through his chest. Then her squad mates one by one. Soon, Nari stood alone, her weapon broken, her armor cracked and bleeding energy. A circle of Dragath warriors surrounded her, their red eyes gleaming in the firelight. Their commander stepped forward. He was massive, covered in battle scars, wearing the marks of high rank. He looked at Nari and laughed. A Velkari warrior, he said. His voice was like grinding metal, fighting to the end. Admirable, but pointless. If I'm going to die, I'll take some of you with me, Nari said. She raised her fists. The commander laughed harder. Brave words. Tell me, warrior, do you know where you are? The plaza, Nari said, confused. No, the commander said. This city, this world, Do you know who lives here? Nari said. No. This is where the Silent One settled, the commander said. The human called the Silent Blade. We've searched for him for 20 years and now we found him. He leaned closer. Do you know him? Does he still live in this city? Nari's blood ran cold. The Silent Blade. She'd heard stories. Every species in the galaxy had heard stories. A human warrior from the old war. The one who couldn't be killed, who destroyed an entire empire's army by himself. But those were just stories. Legends, not real. I see you know the name, the commander said. Good. When you die, tell him in the afterlife that Velcro sends his regards. Tell him we've come to finish what we started. The commander raised his weapon. Nari closed her eyes, thinking of Hyun, her quiet, gentle husband. She hoped he had escaped. She hoped he would survive. Then a voice cut through the night. A voice she knew. Velcro. Everyone turned. A figure walked through the smoke and fire. He moved calmly, like he was taking an evening stroll. He wore simple clothes, merchant clothes. It was Hun. Impossible. Velcro whispered. You died. Everyone said you died. Hyun stopped, 10 meters away. He looked at Nari, and his eyes were full of sorrow. I'm sorry you have to see this, he said softly. I'm sorry for everything. Then he reached inside his coat. The sword came out slowly. It was simple in design. No decorations or jewels, just dark metal that seemed to drink in the light. But the moment it cleared Hyun's coat, the air changed. A low hum filled the plaza, like the sword itself was singing. The Dragath soldiers took a step back. Velcro's face went pale. That sword, Velcro said. It can't be. You were supposed to be dead. Han held the blade loosely at his side. He looked tired, older somehow. I tried to die. I tried to become someone else. But you couldn't let me have that, could you? You killed thousands of my people, Velcro snarled. Did you think we would forget? Did you think we would forgive? No, Ayan said quietly. I hoped you would move on. I hoped 20 years was enough time. He looked at Nari, and his expression was full of pain. I'm sorry. I never wanted you to see this side of me. Nari tried to speak, but no words came. Her mind couldn't connect the quiet merchant she married with the legend standing before her. Kill him, Velcro shouted. 5 Dragath soldiers charged. They were fast, trained warriors, with weapons that could cut through steel. But Hyun moved faster. The first soldier fell before his brain registered the movement. Hyun's sword passed through his armor like it wasn't there. The second and third died in the same heartbeat, their bodies hitting the ground before they knew they were dead. The fourth soldier managed to raise his weapon. Hyun's blade met it, and the Dragath weapon shattered like glass. The soldier's eyes widened in shock for half a second before Hyun's sword found his throat. The fifth soldier was smart enough to stop running. He froze, dropped his weapon, and backed away slowly. The whole thing took 3 seconds. Nari had seen many battles. She had fought alongside the best warriors of her people. But she had never seen anyone move like Hun. It wasn't just skill. It was something beyond skill. Like watching water flow or lightning strike. Natural. Inevitable. Velcro drew his own weapon. A massive blade that glowed red. I've waited 20 years for this. I've trained every day. I'm not the warrior you defeated back then. I'm stronger. Better. I don't want to fight you, Hyun said. Leave this world. Leave these people alone. I'll let you go. Let me go. Velcro laughed, but it sounded forced. You're one man. We have an army. Yes, Hyun said. You do? He looked around at the Dragath soldiers surrounding them. But ask yourself, if I'm still alive after 20 years, why do you think that is? Did you really believe I was hiding from you? Or did you never find me because I didn't want to be found? Silence fell over the plaza. Even through their helmets, Nari could sense the Dragath soldiers' fear. Velcro roared and charged. He was huge, fast, and his strikes could shatter stone. His blade came down like a falling mountain. Ian sidestepped. Just a small movement, minimal effort. Velcro's sword hit the ground, cracking the stone. Before he could recover, Hyun's blade traced a line across his chest. Not deep enough to kill, but deep enough to hurt. Velcro stumbled back, blood seeping through his armor. How? I'm faster than I was. Stronger. I know, Hyun said. But you're still angry. Anger makes you predictable. They fought for real then. Velcro attacked with everything he had. His blade moved in patterns Nari recognized from advanced combat training. He was good, Incredibly good. Any normal warrior would have died in seconds, but Hun wasn't a normal warrior. He didn't block attacks so much as not be where they landed. He moved like smoke, like shadow. His counterstrikes were precise, each one finding gaps in Velcro's defense that shouldn't exist. Blood dripped from a dozen cuts on Velcro's body. He was slowing down, breathing hard. "You can stop," Hyun said. There was no mockery in his voice, just sadness. "This doesn't have to end with your death." "Yes, it does," Velcro gasped. "I swore an oath. Every Dragoth commander did. We would hunt you. We would kill you. We would avenge our people. Your people attacked humanity first," Hyun said. "We were explorers, peaceful. You came to our worlds with weapons and demands. You killed millions before we even understood what war was. Lies." "No." Hyun's voice was hard now. "Your leaders told you lies. They said humans were weak, easy prey. They learned the truth too late." Velcro charged again, roaring. It was clumsy, desperate. Han's sword moved once. Velcro's weapon fell from his hands. He looked down at his chest where blood spread across his armor. He fell to his knees. "How?" he whispered. "How can one species produce something like you?" Han knelt beside him. "We're not special. We just adapt. We survive. And when pushed too far, we push back harder than you can imagine." Velcro coughed blood. "My soldiers will continue. They'll burn this world." "No, they won't." Hyun stood and raised his voice so every Dragoth soldier could hear. "You have two choices. Leave now, and tell your empire that the Silent Blade has returned. Tell them that if they continue this war, I will do to them what I did 20 years ago, or stay and die here. Choose quickly." For a moment, nobody moved. Then, one soldier turned and ran. Then another. Then all of them, scrambling over each other to reach their ships. Velcro laughed weakly. "They fear you more than they fear their own commanders. You really are a monster." "Yes," Hyun said quietly. "I am." Velcro's eyes closed. He stopped breathing. The plaza fell silent except for distant fires. Hun stood alone among the bodies, his sword still humming softly. Then he turned to look at Nari. She stared at him. This man who had cooked her dinner, who had held her hand, who had smiled sadly at her family's insults. This was the same person who had just killed a dozen warriors like they were nothing. "Nari!" Hun said. He took a step toward her. "Stay back!" Nari said. Her voice shook. I don't know you." Something broke in Hun's expression. "I'm still the same person. I'm still the man you married." "That man was a lie," Nari said. "Everything was a lie." "No." Yoon's voice cracked. "Everything I showed you was real. This," he gestured at the carnage around them. "This is the lie. This is the person I tried to kill. The person I never wanted to be again." Nari's communicator crackled. Other voices. Other soldiers calling for help across the city. The battle wasn't over. The Dragoth had retreated from this area, but were still attacking elsewhere. "I have to go," Nari said. She started to leave, then stopped. Without looking back, she said, "Thank you for saving my life." Then she ran into the smoke, leaving Hyun alone with his sword and his ghosts. News traveled fast in the galaxy. Within hours, every major world knew that the Silent Blade had returned. Within a day, old videos from the human Dragoth War flooded the networks. Humans watching across the galaxy saw footage they had tried to forget. The video showed cities burning, showed Dragoth fleets overwhelming human colonies, showed humanity facing extinction. Then they showed one man changing everything. Han looked younger in the videos, but his eyes were the same, sad, tired. He moved through drag battle stations like death itself, destroyed shipyards that took years to build, appeared in command centers that were supposed to be unreachable, and left only bodies behind. The final video showed the Dragoth Council Chamber. 12 high commanders sat in a circle. Huan walked in through the front door. They shot at him with weapons that could vaporize steel. He dodged. His sword moved. 11 commanders died. The 12th was left alive to deliver a message. "Leave humanity alone or we will end you." That was 20 years ago. After that, Hun disappeared, and humanity joined the Galactic Coalition as a peaceful trading species. Everyone assumed the Silent Blade had died. Nari watched the videos in her quarters. She watched Han kill hundreds of soldiers without expression. Watched him walk through fire like it was rain. Watched him do things that shouldn't be possible. The man in those videos was a weapon. A perfect, terrifying weapon. And she had married him. Her communicator buzzed. An official summons from the Coalition Council. They wanted to see Han immediately. They wanted their weapon back. Nari found him at their home above the shop. He was cleaning his sword, running a cloth along the blade with careful movements. The locked container in the storage room now sat open and empty. "They're summoning you," Nari said. "The council wants you to fight." "I know," Hyun said. He didn't look up from his sword. "Are you going?" "No." Nari felt anger flare. "The Dragath are attacking 6 more worlds. Thousands are dying. You could stop it." "I'm not a soldier anymore," Hun said. "I became a merchant to stop being a killer. I broke that promise once to save you. I won't break it again for politics." "This isn't politics," Nari shouted. "People are dying. My people are dying." Hun finally looked at her. "And if I go back to war, more will die. That's what I do, Nari. I don't fight battles. I don't win wars. I annihilate enemies so completely that their species has nightmares for generations. Is that what you want? I want you to use your abilities for good. There's no good in what I do," Huan said quietly. "There's only death and terror. I thought you understood that after watching those videos." "I understand you're a coward," Nari said. The words came out before she could stop them. Han flinched like she'd struck him. "Maybe I am. My people are dying while you sit here polishing your sword," Nari continued. "You have power that could save millions, and you're too afraid to use it." "I'm not afraid of fighting," Han said. "I'm afraid of what I become when I fight. I'm afraid you'll see it and never look at me the same way again." "I already don't look at you the same way," Nari said, "because I don't know who you are." She left before he could respond. That night, she volunteered for the most dangerous assignment available. A fleet was being sent to defend the colony world, Talvin, where millions of refugees had gathered. Intelligence said it was the Dragath's next target. Nari's ship left at dawn. She didn't say goodbye to Hyen. The battle for Talvin was worse than anyone expected. The Dragath sent their entire fleet, hundreds of ships. They wanted to make a statement. They wanted to show the galaxy that humanity's legend meant nothing without the silent blade. Nari fought for 3 days straight. Her squadron held the orbital platforms while evacuation ships tried to get civilians off the planet. One by one, her fellow pilots died. The platforms fell. The evacuation ships burned. On the 3rd day, Nari's fighter took a direct hit. She managed to crash land on Talvin's surface, but her leg was broken and her communicator destroyed. She crawled from the wreckage as Dragath soldiers surrounded her. They dragged her to their flagship. The new Dragath commander, a female named Shakur, looked down at her with disgust. "A Velkari warrior," Shakur said. "Where is your husband now? Where is the great silent blade?" Nari spat blood. "He's not coming." "No," Shakur smiled. "We know you married him. We know you argued before you left. Tell me, does it hurt knowing your husband chose peace over saving you?" "He's not a coward," Nari said through gritted teeth. "He's just tired of killing." "How noble," Shakur mocked. "We'll broadcast your execution across the galaxy. We'll show everyone that the silent blade lets his own wife die rather than face us." She dragged Nari to the bridge where cameras were set up. Billions would watch this. Billions would see humanity's legend exposed as a lie. Shakur forced Nari to her knees. "Any last words for your husband?" Nari looked at the camera. Her vision was blurry from blood loss, but she tried to smile. "Hun, I'm sorry. I was wrong. You're not a coward. You're the strongest person I know. Strong enough to walk away from violence, even when everyone tells you to fight. I love you. I always will." Shakur raised her weapon. How touching. Alarms screamed across the ship. "What now?" Shakur demanded. A soldier ran onto the bridge. "Commander, a single ship just entered orbit. It's broadcasting on all channels. The message says, 'Release my wife, or every Dragath in this system dies.' You have 5 minutes. This is the silent blade." Shakur laughed. "One ship against our entire fleet. He's insane." The soldier's face was pale. "Commander, the ship is already gone. Our sensors can't track it. And we're getting reports from across the fleet. Ships are losing power. Weapon systems are failing. Someone is moving through our vessels, and we can't stop them." On the bridge screens, they watched chaos unfold. Dragath ships went dark one by one. Some exploded, others just died. All systems failing simultaneously. "Impossible," Shakur whispered. "He can't be on multiple ships at once." "He's not alone," the soldier said. We're detecting multiple humans, dozens of them. They're all moving like him, fighting like him. Understanding dawned on Nari. Hyun had said something once. I'm not the only one who retired. All those peaceful human merchants, farmers and teachers, scattered across the galaxy. They had all been soldiers once, and now they were going to war again. Find them, Shakur screamed. Kill them all! But it was already too late. The flagship's doors exploded inward. Smoke filled the bridge. Through it walked Hun, his sword glowing in the dim light. He looked at Nari. Their eyes met. Sorry I'm late, he said softly. Tefik was terrible. Shakur fired her weapon directly at Huan's chest. The blast was powerful enough to destroy a tank. Huan's sword moved in a blur, and the energy bolt split in half, passing on either side of him and exploding against the wall. Impossible, Shakur breathed. Hyun walked toward Nari, cutting down any soldier who got in his way. His movements were efficient, almost lazy. He wasn't showing off or being cruel. He was simply removing obstacles between himself and his wife. He knelt beside Nari and cut her bonds with careful precision. Can you walk? My leg is broken, Nari said. Her voice was weak from blood loss. Hyun lifted her gently. Despite everything, despite the terror and the lies, and the person he really was, Nari felt safe in his arms. You came, she whispered. Of course I came, Hyun said. I love you more than I hate killing. Shakur blocked their path. She was massive, augmented with technology that made her faster and stronger than any natural being. Her weapon hummed with power. You can't fight me while carrying her, Shakur said. Put her down. Face me properly. No, Hyun said. He adjusted Nari in his arms. I won't put her down. If you want to fight, come at me as I am. Shakur roared and charged. She was fast, incredibly fast. Her blade came down in a strike that could split a ship in half. Hyun sidestepped, still holding Nari. Shakur's blade hit empty air. Before she could recover, Hyun's sword traced a line across her weapon arm. Blood sprayed. Her blade clattered to the floor. You move well, Hyun said calmly. But you telegraph your attacks. Your augmentations make you strong, but they also make you predictable. Too much power, not enough control. Shakur stumbled back, clutching her arm. You're a monster. Yes, Hyun agreed. But I'm a monster who keeps his promises. I promise to love and protect Nari. That promise is worth more to me than peace. Other Dragath soldiers rushed the bridge. Hyun set Nari down carefully against a console. Close your eyes, he told her gently. Why? Because I love you, he said. And I don't want you to see this. Nari closed her eyes. She heard sounds, metal on metal, bodies falling, screams cut short. It lasted maybe 30 seconds, then silence. When she opened her eyes, Hyun was picking her up again. Blood covered his clothes, but none of it was his. Behind him, the bridge was full of bodies. His expression was the same as always. Calm, sad, tired. Let's go home, he said. They made their way to the hangar bay. Other humans were there, loading wounded onto ships. Nari recognized Quan and several other merchants from Velcaris. They all moved with the same deadly efficiency as Hyun. The fleet is broken, Quan reported. Half their ships are destroyed. The rest are retreating. Let them go, Han said. Send a message to the Dragath High Command. Tell them this is their last warning. If they attack any coalition world again, we'll come to their home system. We'll end their empire like we almost did 20 years ago. And this time, we won't show mercy. Quan nodded and moved away. Hyun carried Nari to a medical ship where doctors were already treating wounded. He stayed with her while they set her leg and closed her wounds. You should rest, the doctor said to Nari. You've lost a lot of blood. But Nari couldn't rest. She stared at Hyun, really seeing him for the first time. Not the merchant, not the legend, just the man caught between two identities, neither of which felt right anymore. Why did you really come? She asked. Was it duty? Guilt? Love? Hun said simply. Everything else is just noise. You're the only thing that matters. But you said you wouldn't fight for politics. This wasn't politics, Hun said. This was you. I'll stay retired for the rest of the galaxy. But for you, I'd burn down stars. Tears rolled down Nari's face. I called you a coward. You were right to be angry, Hun said. I was hiding, pretending I could leave my past behind. But you can't outrun yourself. So what now? Nari asked. You're famous again. Everyone knows you're alive. The council will demand you fight for them. Hun smiled slightly. Let them demand. I'm going back to Velkaris. I'm going to rebuild my shop. I'm going to be a merchant again, and if anyone has a problem with that, they can take it up with my wife, the warrior who married a legend, and taught him what real courage looks like. News of the battle spread even faster than before. The Dragath Empire sued for peace within a week. They couldn't fight an enemy that could destroy their fleets from the inside, and they couldn't handle the fear of facing the Silent Blade again. The Coalition Council offered Hun medals, honors, and a seat on the High Council itself. He declined everything and went home to Velkaris. His shop was damaged from the first attack, but still standing. Hyon spent weeks rebuilding it with his own hands. Other humans helped the ones who had been soldiers and now wanted to be peaceful again. Nari recovered from her wounds. The military promoted her to her old rank and offered her better positions. She also declined. Instead, she requested assignment to defense where she could stay close to home. One evening, 3 months after the battle, Nari found Hun in the storage room. His sword lay in its case, cleaned and oiled but not sealed away. "You're keeping it out now," she said. "Yes," Hyon said. "I spent years pretending I wasn't a warrior, but ignoring the truth doesn't change it. This sword is part of who I am. I can choose not to use it, but I can't pretend it doesn't exist." Nari sat beside him. "I'm sorry for how I reacted when I first saw you fight." "You had every right to be scared," Jan said. "I am scary. What I can do is scary." "No," Nari said. "I wasn't scared of what you could do. I was scared of what I didn't know. You're my husband, and there was this huge part of you that was a secret. It felt like a betrayal." "It was a betrayal," Hyon said. "I should have told you before we married, but I was afraid you'd leave, and I wanted you to stay so badly." "I understand that now," Nari said. She took his hand. "I've been thinking a lot about strength. My people think strength is being the best fighter, the most aggressive warrior. But you taught me something different. You're strong enough to walk away from violence, even when everyone calls you weak. Strong enough to live quietly when you could demand respect through fear. That's harder than any battle." Hyon squeezed her hand. "I'm not that strong. I went to war for you. Because you love me," Nari said. "That's its own kind of strength." They sat together in comfortable silence. Outside, Velkaris was rebuilding. The galaxy was adjusting to a new reality, where humanity was no longer seen as weak or passive, where retired human warriors lived among them, capable of terrible things, but choosing peace instead. The shop reopened a month later. Customers came, though now they treated Hyon with nervous respect. He hated it. He much preferred when people just wanted to buy spices and tea without whispering about legends. But some things changed for the better. Nari's family visited and apologized. Her mother actually bought something which Hun considered a small miracle. Other Velkari who had mocked their marriage now nodded respectfully when they passed. Late one night, Nari woke to find Hyon standing at the window staring at the stars. "Can't sleep?" she asked. "Just thinking," Hyon said. 20 years I ran from my past, tried to bury it. But maybe that was wrong. Maybe the point isn't to forget who you were. Maybe it's to choose who you are now, even while remembering." Nari joined him at the window. "And who are you now?" Hun thought for a moment. "I'm a merchant who used to be a soldier, a husband who loves his wife, a man who hopes he never has to draw his sword again, but keeps it ready just in case. I'm all of those things. They're all true. I love all of those things," Nari said. "Even the scary parts. Even the scary parts. Especially the scary parts," Nari said. "Because those parts of you saved my life, saved my world. You're a good man who can do terrible things when necessary. The galaxy needs more people like that." Hyon pulled her close. They stood together, watching the twin moons rise over their city. Somewhere in the galaxy, old enemies nursed their wounds and new ones plotted. But here, in this moment, there was peace. And for a man who had spent his life at war, peace was one